Good mighty morning, everybody. Matt here. I'm sitting by my fireplace, and there's a reason for that. I'll share with you in a moment. Today, we're going to talk about getting client results. I've had a lot of interesting conversations with friends over the past couple days, and even just this morning, about process and coaching versus consulting and all this stuff. And I felt like sharing some of these conversations I've had with you would really help you simplify the delivery of what you do, and also get you more confident with your pricing. So, but before we do that, if you need help with any of this kind of stuff ever, you can always go to mattwrightcall.com, schedule a free call, help you figure out what are the next best steps to take in your business. There's a lot of shiny objects out there, and it's really confusing to know what's going to work for you. So let's talk about getting client results. So the first big thing that I see people struggle with is when they're first getting into this kind of stuff is that they give people too many assignments. They help people see the big picture, and then they say, go to work on it all at once. But I've got this great book right here, Atomic Habits. And what I'm learning from this book is that it's not about the goals. It's not about the pieces of instructions that you give people. It's number one, it's actually about actual adherence to those goals. And number two, it's not about the goals themselves and the tasks themselves. It's about the habits that they create. So whenever I'm working with someone, the thing that I'm always getting them to do is to create content that helps their audience, builds goodwill, and makes an offer via Facebook Live, right? And for a lot of people, it's not a natural thing for them, and it's not they are overwhelmed by, what do I say, which we help you figure out. They're overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, what do I look like? And all of those things actually don't matter. Well, what you say matters, but you can script it out. So when it comes to doing that, the thing that I focus on with people is I don't give them like 5 assignments at once. I don't even give them the full script at once. I just want to see them doing videos consistently. It's the same kind of thing like when I started meditating. And I probably started meditating on and off like 2 years ago, and more consistently like a year ago. And all I did was I started with a 1 minute a day meditation. And instead of focusing on a million different things that I need to do to improve my life, I chose one of them. And I adhered to it strictly, and I made it very easy for myself to adhere to. So especially if you're in the business of coaching, lifestyle change, the thing that you need to focus on with clients is less assignments and simpler assignments. Make sure that they're getting in the habit of actually doing the stuff, and then you can add complexity to it. So the next big thing is coaching versus consulting. So when people, and my friend Graham helped me just realize this morning, when people are doing this kind of stuff, like digital marketing or health, and there's steps forwards and there's steps backwards, a lot of people, I think, are under the impression, especially because of the sales process, that when they hire someone, it's only going to be steps forward. And in some cases, it's possible. But in a lot of cases, there's steps forwards and there's steps backwards. And you need to always make the client aware of, hey, we're going to try this, and it might work, it might not work. But I'm here to guide you through the process, and I'm sticking with you, and you got to stick with me. And the big distinction that my friend Graham helped me make this morning was the difference or the elements of working with people one-on-one, which is if you are a health coach, there's a part of you that's also a consultant. And if you're a consultant, there's also probably a part of you that's a coach. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is if you're a health coach and you're going to, say, like interpret some fancy lab work for someone, you're acting as the consultant. You're saying, hey, let's look at this information. Here's what I recommend that you do. And that's the consulting piece of it. Now, the coaching piece of it is, hey, did you do the stuff? Because you said you do the stuff. Why didn't you do the stuff, man? And following up with them and making sure that they do it, or helping them even overcome fear and understand their personal reasons why they take the actions that they take. So on the flip side, if you are the coach, which is I'm going to help you do this type of lifestyle change or accomplish this type of thing, the other piece that you have is the consulting piece, which is as the consultant in any relationship, you need to stand firm on the recommendations that you give people. Because if you know what people need to do in order to be successful, and then you as the consultant or as the coach role don't hold them accountable to actually doing those things, then it can so happen that they actually blame you for their lack of results when it's actually on them. So if you're someone who ever needs help with this kind of thing, you can always go to mattwrightcall.com. There's a lot of mindset shifts that got to happen around coaching. There's a lot of I'm just grabbing my foam roller real quick. There's a lot of stuff that you got to get over mentally, and the most important thing is knowing what are the right actions to take for you right now. So what we help people with is figure out what's the next best step in their business. Is it generating leads? Is it automating their program? Is it coming out with a new offer? All different things. We've got a systematic way to do it. You can go over to mattwrightcall.com, and I'd be happy to meet you, help you out. So let's go. Let's talk more about this coach consultant thing. So how do you actually? I was talking with a friend last night, and he said that he was spending all this time with his clients. He was spending too much time with them, and when you're spending too much time with people, it can oftentimes represent a lack of process, or it can, mostly process. And what do I mean by process? Well, process could be what is the actual stuff that you're taking them through, and then like end to end, and then what is actually the content of your coaching or consulting calls. So one of the things that I've learned to do recently, again, is way less assignments, not complex assignments, making sure that people are getting the habit of actually doing stuff. And so let's talk about what you actually do on these calls for a moment. And if you're someone currently doing coaching, this next bit's going to be extremely valuable for you. And that is, if when you get on the calls, there's going to be things that people are already doing which either contribute to their success or don't contribute to their success. So if you simply do a sort of systematic mapping process, and I'm sure after you've worked with even just 5 or 10 people, that you'll see that there are things that people are always doing over and over again that are good and that are bad. And you'll see that you're frequently giving the same pieces of advice. And so you can come up with your own, X number of steps system to analyze where they're at. And the way that you need to pose the questions is like this. So, Mr. Client, you're telling me that you get most of your leads from Facebook ads, but you're spending a lot of money on ads. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. So do you think if we, lowered your cost per lead that you would be able to spend less money on ads? Well, yeah, I think I would be able to. Okay, and then stop right there. That's number 1, okay? And then the next thing you want to do is go through your whole analytical process like this. Okay, so Mr. Client, you're telling me that you have an opt-in page that converts at 10%. That's correct. So do you think if we got that opt-in page converting at 20%, that would help you spend less money on ads and work with more people? Well, yeah, I think it would. Okay, great. So you do this over and over a number of times where you're simply asking them about their current state, confirming where they're at, and suggesting as a question what they should do next. Suggesting as a question what they do next. And then at the end of the call, you follow it up with, so, Mr. Client, do you think if I helped you, lower your cost per lead, up your opt-in rate, and build you an email follow-up sequence, that you would see the success you want to see in your business? Well, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And the funny thing is that they actually came up with that solution kind of themselves, or it's positioned that way. So that's big tip number 1 as far as handling your calls. And actually, sticking with my own advice, I'm going to leave it there for today, because if I give you too much, you won't actually apply it. So, recap. Whenever you're working with your coaching or consulting clients, there is both a coach and a consultant role. There's the development of the strategy, the analysis of the numbers or the labs or whatever kind of coaching or consulting you do. And then there's the coaching piece, which is actually holding them accountable. Make sure you do both roles. The next thing is fewer assignments, making sure that the people are getting into the habits of doing the stuff that you give them. And help them see the big picture, but only give them 1 or 2 assignments at a time. And the last thing is what we just talked about, which is of course how to actually handle those calls, which is to help them come up with their own solutions and then pitch those solutions to them all at the end. and then go back into your coach consultant role and suggest where they work first. So, again, the reason I'm sitting by my fireplace is to represent that small habits make a large difference. I started with 1 minute of meditation a day, and I do it every day, and it's not an issue now. It's great. So, as always, if you know someone who this would help, you can press the little share button, kind of in the bottom right there, and send it right over to them. And if you have any questions, I do reply to those. Just drop them in the comments, and I will reply to those when I can. And I will see you guys in the next one. Good luck. Have no fear. You're probably really great at what you do, and you're just facing some imposter syndrome. That is my affirmation for today to you, and I will see you tomorrow.